Good morning. I'm the Reverend Kevin Tarsa as we gather to form this lively and caring community this morning. And as we prepare to enter time devoted to what matters, I invite all of us to silence our cell phones and other devices. I'll actually be inviting to use them later in the service, but the silent mode would be great so that it allows us to be as fully present as we can be. We had a worship team meeting and this weekend, and I realized we don't ever tell you to turn them back on. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah. You will have noticed a particular and strong presence this morning. Some of you will know that this is a painting of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., born on this day, January 15 in 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. It was painted April 4th, 1968 by Barbara Hoyt, years later, a member of this congregation. She painted it in spontaneous, grief-stricken response to news of the assassination of Dr. King on April 4, 1968. She was so distraught, she didn't know what to do. So artist that she is, she went to the garage and pulled out this 4x8 sheet of masonite and simply began painting. On this anniversary of his birth, this day before the federal holiday that's meant to honor in a single day of the year, not only Dr. King's legacy, but all of the trials and courage and truth of the countless people his life and vocation represent. We begin by just stopping for a moment to breathe it in, as best we know how, to commit not to a surface and easy celebration of a hero, but to the deep and challenging vision Dr. King and so many others have held for this nation, a vision of a world so much more fair, so much more courageous, so much more equitable, so much more sustainable, so very much more just than it has ever been. A vision Dr. King is asking all of us to claim as our own vision. The land acknowledgement that opens this congregation's services is one part of living into that vision as best we know how. This morning, our land acknowledgement is offered by Magdalene Florence.
By placing this basket of black oak acorns on our altar, we acknowledge the Nisenan people are still here among us today. Though nearly invisible after generations of erasure and exclusion from California's history, we understand we are on Nisenan land, and that was never ceded, never given up, and the original tribal families have yet to recover from the genocide of their people. We commit ourselves to supporting the Nisenan in their efforts to stabilize their people and restore their tribal sovereignty.
Thank you, Magdalene. The land sung of in the song we're about to sing is a vision born of the experience of being enslaved. It sings of the land that is yet to be, the land of Dr. King's and perhaps your vision. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and to sing. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. So come and go with me. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of the mountains. We welcome each of you, wherever you're from, whoever you are, and whatever it is you may be holding in your heart. We extend a warm embrace and welcome. My name is Carol Nimick, and I am the worship associate this morning. And what a special morning as we have with us two ministers. Of course, Reverend Kevin, but also via Zoom, Reverend Janet Ani, who has stepped in with her wisdom, experience, and love to support us as a congregation these next months ahead. This is a transitional moment, a transition for Rev Kevin to go into his renewal time, and as he moves forward, this moment provides us, the congregation, the opportunity to unite and to renew. This moment also aligns with Martin Luther King's Celebration Day. How appropriate. We can hearken to and be inspired by his strong messages of uniting and love. And how appropriate this moment is occurring under the arch of this month's theme, centering through the change and the transition, staying in our centers, in our hearts, and in our breath, and in our shared beliefs as a community, creating together with Reverend Janet Ani, something wonderful and not yet imagined. Welcome to this moment and to this moment here together.
As we prepare to welcome Reverend Ani a little bit more officially in a moment, I want to thank the Sabbatical Renewal Planning Committee. on behalf of the board, myself, and all of us. They have done an amazing and wonderfully thorough job of discerning the needs of the congregation, of soliciting input from you, of setting the congregation up for success in these next months. And finally, of searching for, locating, and recommending a sabbatical minister. Let us manifest our gratitude not only through our collective applause in a moment, but also later through our much more direct and personal thanks to Gail Johnson-Vaughn, if you'd be willing to indicate yourself. Gail will be up in a moment. George Dunstan, Kern Hildebrand, Board Liaison Taylor Carey, and for Ministerial Search Assistants, Lindsay Dunkel. I invite you to please, yes, help them know your... Huge, huge thanks. And I invite Gail Johnson-Vaughn up to introduce Reverend Ani.
So is she going to be peeking up there while I'm up here? We'll see. I'm going to put my arm around her right now. Such a treat. It was an adventure that we've had starting a year ago last October. And we really worked with you guys to find out what you wanted. And then we started looking, and we looked and we looked, and we went, is this going to happen? And then Reverend Ani just appeared with angel wings with this wonderful suggestion. She's an experienced sabbatical minister and loves it. And where she was last year was in British Columbia in Canada, ministering from Virginia. And we went, could we do this? Well, when we met with her first, just to say, we hadn't even thought of that, talk about it. And I had the sense almost immediately that Reverend Ani had been here for decades here. She is a fit, you guys. She's such a fit. She's warm, she's open, she's justice oriented, she's a storyteller. She knows how to do so many wonderful things. She's bright, she's sensitive, she knows how to engage us. Now, I haven't told her this, but I've told other people. She reminds me of a Rhode Island red hen. She fluffs up her feathers and she gathers her herd under her chicks. And I know that she's going to take really wonderful care of us. We've said, well, how do we really get to know her? We'll get to know her through Zoom, and goodness knows we spent 2 years doing that with Kevin. But she's also going to make some time available here and there to do a Zoom chat for whoever wants to come in and say, how you doing today? So we will get to know her. She's going to introduce herself far better than I can, but what I can say is, we did good.
Well, I don't feel like an angel, but I do feel a little bit like a Rhode Island red hen. In that I'm not quite sure where the boundaries are or what I'm supposed to peck at and what's edible and what is not. But I am just so thrilled to be here and to be of service to what looks to me like a congregation that really has gotten their act together and knows where they want to go and how they want to go, or maybe not, but at least has the courage to try. I'm very excited. I had not thought about Zoom ministry until I had the experience of the South Fraser congregation, which is a little bit south of Vancouver last year. I kind of like this 3-hour time difference because it means I can sleep in a little bit on Sunday morning. I also want to get to know each and every one of you as you would like to be known. I do plan to set up some Zoom chat rooms so that we can just feel each other out, see what each other are thinking about. I am so thrilled that you're going to have a flute player today because I am a flute player as well. And it's just wonderful to have somebody there in the congregation who shares my passion. as many of you do. And I think that I'm going to find out more and more how much we are alike and how much we do share. I'm so grateful for the search committee for taking this leap into the unknown. I'm so grateful to all of you for following the extraordinary leadership of Reverend Kevin. And I'm looking forward to being with you for the next 4.5 months. Be well. We'll talk later.
Welcome, Rev Jan. Our chalice lighting words this morning are offered by your Vice President, Renee Wiley, as the chalice is lit by your President, Pam Kaiser.
Weaving by Lynn Unger. First, set the warp, the plain, stable threads that hold the pattern in place, the infrastructure of joy, the girders that hold up all we build of meaning or justice or peace. Use strong threads left by those who have gone before. Only then pick up the weft, the colored thread that you will use to weave according to your plan. Choose carefully. This is what the world will see. Each tiny act that builds the bright pattern of your life. Yes, the threads will tangle or knot or fray, and the flaws will show. Oh well, tuck in the ends as best you can and start again. This is not the time to stop your weaving. So much is pulling at the design.
I invite everyone at home to light your home chalice. Gary, once in a while, there's a little bit of a ring. The microphone's a little bit hot, so in the room at least. Yeah. So, we're about to have some conversation about the word for the year, but let me start with this. Do you like to learn new words? So I'd like to start with our youngest people and say, what's one of the new words you've learned recently? What's one new word that you've learned recently? Any of our youngest people? Which means under 30, no. Any word ideas? Curious. Oh, what a great word. Who's got some other words you've learned recently that you are enjoying? No. I'm sorry?
I learned it in a crossword. Double eagle.
Double eagle. Learned in a crossword, right? That's a source for many of us. What's that word? So are there words that you like the feel of in your mouth, that have a good mouth feel, like lugubrious, or avuncular, or wangdoodle, or languid, or snuffleupagus, or platypus? What words do you like the feel of? Ingredient. Serendipity. Doppelganger. Infinitesimal. Eileen, is there anybody online who's typed anything in? I'm curious. Any other words? Poignant. Sometimes it's just the feel. Lollygag. Chock-a-block. So we do all this work, right, to choose our deep, meaningful words for the year, but sometimes words are fun for the saying. So I think most of you know, we've invited you to identify a word for the year to travel with, to be your journey partner, to put in conversation with your life. I'd be curious of a couple samples of ones that you're pretty sure that this is going to be your word. What is it for you? Focus. Persistence. Belonging. Acceptance. Good enough. Renee. Assemble. devotion, courage, creativity, authenticity. Vulnerability, Martha? Equanimity. What powerful words. Patience. Mine's going to be spaciousness. Spaciousness. So I'm going to invite you to share your word. Using those devices that so many of us have. And if you don't have one, I bet someone near you does, because each person can put in several options. So Paul, would you please put up the slide? So a couple ways you can do this. You can use your phone and just point it up to the QR code and it'll take you to a link to get there. Or if you're at home or want to go to menti.com, and then you'd put in this code that's on the screen there, 8817-1920. I invite you to type in your word for the year. See if anyone near you would like you to type in their word for the year. If you prefer to see this closer up to your face, we have some of the same information on little pieces of paper that Jean's got. So if you want one of those, just raise your hand and Jean will bring that to you. So go ahead and type your word for the year. And I'm going to show you some of what's coming up. Now, the words that appear most often are going to be largest, but it's right. It's tiny. 8817-1920. Let me stop the share for a second. 8817-1920. Using modern technology to connect. What's your word for the year? And if you're not 100% certain, maybe it's the word you think it is right now. If you're not quite landed, would someone type in spaciousness for me? Would someone type in spaciousness for me? Kate will. Okay, online folks, if you're able to type in, go ahead. Otherwise, type in the chat and I'll call them out. Oh, some of the mouthfeel words were palimpsest, cruncherated, loquacious, judgment, pamplemousse. Here's some words that could go in: accomplish, presence. Yeah, people got your information? Just waiting for that. Just a minute, let me share my screen. It'll keep changing as words are added. Compassion, connection, create, presence are large ones at the moment. Health, clarity, persistence, pursuance, gratitude, authenticity, insight, solace, surrender, at home, opened, wellness, hope, empathy. Switzerland is in there, yes. Aqua, transition. So I'll come back to this. We'll see a little bit more completely. You can still be entering. But right now, connection is the largest word. It means most people have used the word connection somehow. And then presence. And then create. Ooh, presence and connection are neck and neck. And compassion has risen in the list. I hope that you'll use that word for the year. Now that we've done it a few years, more and more people talk about their stories throughout the year of how that word is intersecting with their life and helping them see some things in new ways. So whatever your word is, may it serve you well. And is our young person already upstairs, or can we sing? Can we sing her on her way? So with this little light of mine, I'll stop sharing. We'll sing our youngest member on her way, I think, to Kids Connection. This little light of mine, I'm shine. I believe it was Beth Carroll who explained that when she sees this painting of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., she sees it through the copious wet tears of the artist, through Barbara Hoyt's eyes as she's painting, through tears. Again, who in her pain and sorrow at the news of Dr. King's death just grabbed that Masonite and Kansas spray paint and let her sorrow and her hope take form in this way. I'm always taken with its perspective, the fact that it looks out over Dr. King's shoulders, not simply at him or to him, but out in the direction that he is looking, beyond those wide outstretched arms, beyond even the grieving, suffering individuals captured softly above those arms. Barbara's painting invites empathy, and more than empathy, it invites seeing with the Reverend Dr. King's eyes and acting with some measure of his courage to lessen the suffering that we see, to face the larger, repeated, systemic reasons people continue to suffer. Just yesterday, Keenan Anderson, 31-year-old teacher and father, cousin of one of the Black Lives Matter founders, he flagged down police after a traffic collision. And out of that simple call for help, he was chased and held down by multiple police officers and tased for over 90 seconds as he begged for help. And then he died. A story so tragically familiar and so frequent that the appropriate grief and rage are difficult to sustain because it's so much of the time, because there's never a reprieve from them. Why are so many Black persons in the United States killed in this way? We're called to ask, and to ask what can be done, and what we can do, what we will do. Ukrainians continue to suffer under Russian bombings, suffering losses of lives and losses of life-sustaining infrastructure in the bitter winter cold. What do we see? What can be done? What will we do? Rain and snow are restoring much needed moisture to this land. And winds and flooding are costing lives, leaving people without electricity and with damaged homes, leaving the houseless even more vulnerable than usual. What do we see? What can be done? What will we do? And in the midst of it all, a warm and moving potluck and open mic here last night, which brought words and music of beauty and tenderness, of humor and comfort, as well as challenge, including pieces that tuned our compassion toward those without homes and toward the intractable challenges of racism. I invite Carol Nimick to light the larger candles that each week symbolize those larger joys and sorrows that we hold in our shared awareness. Some of the many things on that side of the vision. As the rain falls. Thank you, Carol. And I invite you to come closer in to feel what in your life, who in your life pulls at your heart, asking you to notice, to pay close attention, to pray, to reach out in courage and in love. I invite you to honor it and each other by holding the time together As some people in the room will come forward and place stones in the bowl to represent all that you hold and the fact that you are held. As people at home type into the chat some of what they carry. I invite you to know that this time is not about taking a break for a minute. It's about being present for the time, to your own heart and to each other. I've placed stones for all the rest and invite Reverend Janet Ani to offer our prayer and meditation this morning.
I want to, before we begin, to mention the chat conversations. Susan is missing Matt, and so grateful for the time he was here. Eileen loves the rain. She was out in the thunder and the rain and hail and small rivers shifting it into patterns on the pavement by the Helling Library. Anne is thinking of her son and his family. Susan has been self-isolating in joyful anticipation of a visit with her 93-year-old mother. She hasn't seen her for almost 2 years. Eileen is concerned for the indigenous Armenians and inspiration from Makima Oloni of the Bay Area, speaking up for the Armenians. Chuck is thinking of Chuck's brother, John, lost at Christmas. Bev has transitions creeping into her life, which bring trepidations and excitement. We are grateful for the thoughts articulated in this safe space. We know also that there are others with joys and concerns and sorrows that are too tender to express. So with those thoughts of those unheard, let us enter into a period of silence as we join the beating of our heart with the beating of all of our hearts together. Join me in this silence. Spirit of life, who draws us into a web of relationships, make your presence known in us and among us. We are mindful of those who are burdened. May we walk quietly alongside them and comfort them with our presence. We are mindful of those who celebrate. May we wholeheartedly rejoice with them and be nourished by the goodness of life. In this period of transitions, help us to remember that we are a curious, creative, and resilient people. We are grateful for this time of renewal, affirming our confidence in our leaders, in our community, and in ourselves. May we always be open to growth and change, to movement, to grace. Be with us as we open our hearts to all of our neighbors, open our souls to a renewal of faith, and open our hands to join together in the work ahead. In the name of all that is holy, and in all the holy names that have ever been uttered and those that have not even yet been imagined, let us say, blessed be, shalom, and amen.
In body or in spirit, and to sing. My life goes on in endless song of brothers' lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the truth, it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When So, renewal time. Though it probably feels most natural to frame this sabbatical renewal time in terms of my sabbatical, I will name once again that I fully hope and trust that it will be a time of renewal for you, for the congregation as well. Now I know I get the easy part. I get lots of time and freedom to choose what I'll do and how to do it and when, and to do what will be restorative and renewing and sustaining, while all of you in the congregation get to carry on, continuing the hard work with heart and commitment. I'll get to renew myself through generous spaciousness and choice, and you in the congregation will get to renew yourselves through a more forced process of discovery. Now, I was going to use this image as the metaphor, this Foucault pendulum, right? Which those giant pendulums you see sometimes in museums, they're swinging very slowly back and forth, and you would think it's simply swinging back and forth and nothing else changes, except that if you set up a circle of items that it might hit, it gradually starts to knock them down in a circle because of the way the earth is spinning. And it happens in different ways depending on where you are on the earth, but not very well at all at the equator. But it seems like nothing's changing, right? Pendulum swinging, but in fact, the whole earth is moving. The whole world is moving underneath. But I'm actually going to use a different metaphor today. Yeah, you can claim that one for any way it's useful. One of my recent decompression tools lately is to watch YouTube videos of West Coast swing dancing. Anyone? Now, West Coast swing is a very elastic looking lead follow partner dance that's rooted back when in the Lindy Hop. It's adaptable to many styles of music, which continue to keep inviting new ways of dancing because there's always new music. Often the dancing responds to the song lyrics, right? So that could go all kinds of directions. And the dance relies on the very creative, conversational, improvisational interaction between the partners. It's not a setup dance, right? There's some kind of tools and phrases that a couple might use, but it's really conversational and in the moment. It's often both sexy and playful. Now, what originally drew me to the videos was both that smooth, fluid style and creativity. There was something about that drew me, and the fact that it's not uncommon to see two men dancing or two male-identified persons dancing, and more now to see two women or two female-identified persons dancing together. In fact, at West Coast swing dance events around the world, you'll see all kinds of couples on the dance floor when they invite everyone out onto the dance floor. And there's almost always a time somewhere in the event where names are drawn out of a hat to pair up a leader with a follower, which means that any combination of the participants who are identifying as leaders or followers that day, not as men or women, could arise. And though there is a designated leader, the leading in West Coast swing is much more nuanced than somebody telling someone else what to do. And often, depending on the skill of the dancers, the other person very well may be leading, and it may be much more fluid than that. I think that's one of the things that's invited by two men dancing or two women dancing. They step out of the conventional roles and it becomes much more egalitarian, the leading and the following. In truth, it's very much a back and forth flow between the partners. Now, some of the dancers will dance as leaders for a whole event at one time, and then the next event, they'll dance as followers for the whole event. And it's wonderful to watch new or unexpected pairings, people who are like, don't know the person they're dancing with or have never danced with the person, and to see what arises, because they're familiar with their own partners dancing, and now they have to have a new kind of conversation, a new set of moves and possible combinations of moves with this new and temporary partner. And besides that, the songs keep changing, the music keeps changing, and so it stays very fresh, and I'm rather charmed by it all. Now, in psychology and self-help circles, it's not uncommon to frame our ways of being, especially with the most significant people in our lives, as a dance that we have learned to do together. Though we personally may change in very important ways, and though we may complain about or feel uncomfortable in a relationship, wanting to do something different, we have a tendency to continue to dance the same steps with our partner, the steps that are familiar, the ones that we know, and that in fact are in lockstep with our partner. We have different moves, but the set of moves works together to create the dance that we've established over all this time. So for the next 4.5 months, we will each have new dance partners. Yes, Reverend Janet will be one of your new dance partners, and I look forward to hearing later about the new moves that you learn together. But you're also going to have new dance partners among yourselves, especially those of you who have been dancing more actively with me, or I with you. Chances are that some of the dancing will feel great and exhilarating and new and exciting, and you'll have new steps to have to work with, right, with these new partners. And chances are that some of it won't quite feel so comfortable because they're not familiar steps. After my 6-week experience this fall of sabbatical, I have a feeling that actually the most instructive part of this whole sabbatical renewal experience will come in June, July, August, September, and next year, when we return to this dance floor, each having learned some new moves, new lyrics, having danced with different partners for a bit, and having needed to become more flexible and creative in response to those new dance partners. In the ministry goals the board and I set for this current congregation year, I laid out some of my sabbatical renewal hopes for you as a congregation, all under the category of coming out of it stronger, more confident, more committed, with ministry responsibility and ownership more widely claimed and shared. A sense of, look at us. A stronger sense of identity for having had to understand who you are, distinct from who the settled minister is. What are some of your hopes? Any hopes you have in mind? What do you hope will come out of sabbatical renewal time? Creativity.
Opportunities to help with the worship team.
Opportunity to help with the worship team.
I hope we'll be pushed to keep reweaving the threads that got frayed in the pandemic process.
Hope that we'll be pushed to keep reweaving the threads that got frayed in the pandemic process. Others? Openness. Freedom, just getting out of what we're used to.
Being able to tap our inner Kevin.
Being able to tap our inner Kevin and the inner you. For myself, I hope to return to this dance not only renewed and refreshed, but also more spiritually grounded, and with a greater sense of vocational leadership clarity for these times, for this moment, ready to re-enter active ministry more sustainably and able to share the work more effectively. To those ends, I will be doing some deep study of the Enneagram, a very rich psychological and emotional and spiritual resource for exploring the uniqueness and the subtleties of our personalities. I'll be learning for the sake of my own personal spiritual growth and development, and also so that I can be a deeper resource to you in your spiritual growth and development. So that's kind of the dig in study part. I'll also be investing in relationships with family and colleagues and friends, relationships that I've given short shrift in my busyness and during these pandemic years. So I'll be re-anchoring some of those relationships. I'll be committing to much more time outdoors, rain or no, picking up the threads of that experience camping and hiking in the redwoods that allowed me to reach a much more grounded and centered place. And in that, I'll be exploring explicitly the role of nature in our personal and spiritual well-being and how that might inform what we do in community. And finally, I'll be studying kirtan. Kirtan is a call and response style singing and chanting rooted in the Vedic traditions, the religious traditions of India. It's in the spirit of our singing meditations. And I'll be approaching Kirtan as a personal spiritual practice that sustains me, as a sheer joy, because it will be a blast, and as a resource for expanding the kinds of singing meditation that we do here. So those are my kind of top focused pieces. They won't be the only things, but I'm going to focus there. I'll be able to enter that time with a whole lot of confidence in you, in the leadership of the congregation, the skill, the talent, the heart of this community, in Reverend Janet's ability to support and serve the congregation with heart and wisdom, with trust that whatever arises, you will find a way and find it together. So thank you for the really tremendous gift of these spacious renewing months without day-to-day decision-making responsibilities. I am very, very grateful, and I will do my best to use it well. May you have a wonderful dance in the meantime. May you discover some new music and some whole new steps. I look forward to trying out some new moves with you when we reconnect in June, and especially beyond. So may it be. So as a way to send us off, I'd like to do invite a series of blessings, starting with some blessings of Reverend Janet Ani. So kind of in that spirit of words that we call out, I invite you to call out some words of blessing to Janet Ani, who's on the screen for us. Hopes for her, blessing, words of blessing. I'll repeat them. So what are some of your blessings for Reverend Ani? Connection. Joy. Love, was it? Luck. Love. It was love. It was love. Fun. Support. Gratitude, trust. Inspiration, friendship. Teamwork. Patience. Harmony. Beautiful blessings. Reverend Jan, may your ministry here feed your spirit, even as it supports, guides, and strengthens this community. May the work here offer just the right amount of exciting challenge, just the right proportions of easy and growthful, just the right blend of heart, head, soul, and action. May you find room open here for bringing the best and deepest, most glad of your gifts. May you laugh here often and heartily, and find your days across all these miles and time zones graced with much joy in this dance. Blessings, Reverend Jan.
Find a place for this. Our renewal blessings for Reverend Kevin are adapted from the words of Julia Corbett Haymeyer. Kevin, we, the Unitarian Universalist Community of the Mountains, offer you this blessing at the beginning of your time of renewal. As you go forth into this new phase of your life's adventure, may you go with the blessings of the seasons. May you go forth with winter's quiet contemplation, the time of resting, the time of being still and of renewing, when all is hidden growth, renewal, and preparation. May you always find time to nurture your own being. May you go forth with the extravagance of spring's exuberant, budding, blossoming promise as the earth awakens yet again. May you awaken to new possibilities. May you return with the abundance of summer's warmth and the fierceness of summer storms that wash away the old and the stale. May you return with renewed energy, purpose, and vision. May it be so in your life and in the life of this community as we journey together. Blessed be.
And my blessing for you as a congregation. May you together discover who you are now, not ever before, but now, and gather inklings of who you want and will need to be as a community. May you realize unrecognized strengths. Feel the warp, those strong threads left by those who have gone before, and bring your own true, new, maybe out there, colorful threads to the weft of this moment. Tangles and knots and frays and all. May the challenges that arise ultimately, if not right away, deepen your faith, your commitment, your awareness and understanding, your ability to love. May the challenges serve. May you grow in ways you aren't expecting, with people you are surprised to be journeying and growing with. And here, may you know yourselves connected, held, seen, heard, valued, loved. May you connect, hold, see, hear, value, and love one another. May you as a community find yourself renewed. So I'd invite us to bring Reverend Ani up one more time and invite us with our hands to just create this circle of blessing here, right? It's all mutual blessing. It's blessings all direction for all the good that we hope, wish, pray for one another. I invite you to hold it just for a moment and to feel the sense. To a tremendous journey with great gratitude. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
25% of our offering this month will support Sierra Roots, which serves chronically homeless individuals by building personal relationships and providing their immediate needs of shelter and warm food and clothing, especially during days like the ones we've had recently. Your giving is also a vital part of supporting our work here in the community. If you'd like 100% of your donation to go to Sierra Roots, please place it in the white envelope. And thank you for your generosity.
Your generosity remains essential to our ability to sustain the work of our community. There are several ways to contribute. You may text an amount to 833-579-0483, give via our website at uugrassvalley.org, via PayPal at paypal.me/UUCM, or mail to UUCM 246 South Church Street, Grass Valley, California, 95945. Thank you.
We dedicate these offerings with the intention that our homeless friends will have shelter and warm connections. We dedicate them to the working of our congregation right here, working together. Thank you. And so many other thank yous this morning. Thank you to Renee and Pam for your reading, to the AV team of Paul and also Gary, who's not mentioned, to the production job so well done by George and our chat host Eileen Hale, and Shanti for the setup and the beautiful altar. Thank you to Jean and Corey for being greeters this morning, to Beth and Connie for refreshments. Thank you to Kate for your wonderful music, and to Toby, and to the Kids Connection, Lindsay and Corey.
I want to thank our staff too, who works so hard, right, in ways that we don't often name or that you don't see. So thanks to our really tremendous staff. So we want to see our current word cloud. Let's see what it looks like. We'll share it later so you can see up close. But out of this, connection, presence, accomplish, rose, compassion. Kitty cat's actually a decent size, as is health and trickle, listen, clarity, self-care. May your word for the year serve you well. So quickly, some announcements. So postcarding around the aiding the voting. You can get your packets in the foyer, and there'll be some writing going on in the library after the service today and next week. Martin Luther King Day, we're hosting here tomorrow. I'm really glad and to be able to say that. It's very limited seating. It requires tickets. You can see that through the website. Also, we'll be on Zoom. So if there's not space in the room, please join in by Zoom. Choir rehearsals have resumed with Toby Come Sing on Wednesdays. The Building and Grounds Workday is next Saturday. It's a great initial way to connect, right? And come and do some good. The mid-year community business meeting takes place next Sunday after the service. Please plan to come and join and vote on the task forces for the year, the justice task forces for the year. And as always, please go to the website, sign up for the newsletter to learn more. Our website is uugrassvalley.org. All right, for those who weren't here, we sang this song at the first part of Sabbatical and did some ritualizing around sending ourselves off. So I feel like this is coming mid-sabbatical, right? We had a phase 1, a phase 2 of returning and learning a lot in the returning, and now phase 3 we enter in. But still, we don't know exactly where we're going, but as the song says, we'll get there, wherever that is that we don't know that we're going. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and to sing. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Woya-ya, 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 woya-ya. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Woya-ya, 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 woya. Harmony encouraged. Woya-ya. Woyaya, 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 woyaya.
We extinguish the flame of our chalice to the words of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's Song of the Potter. Turn, turn my wheel, turn round and round, without a pause, without a sound. So spins the flying world away. This clay, mixed well with marl and sand, follows the motion of my hand, for some must follow and some command, though all are made of clay. Turn, turn my wheel, all things must change to something new, to something strange. Nothing that is can pause or stay. The moon will wax, the moon will wane. The mist and cloud will turn to rain. The rain to mist and cloud again. Tomorrow be today.
Our community benediction sends us out into the week reminded that we are connected. As Reverend Kevin extinguishes the chalice, let us carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.
I'd like to invite you all to refreshments in the back of the church and to enjoy each other's company. We'll see you next Sunday here or online for a wonderful service with Lindsay Dunkel, Some Assembly Required.
Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land.